84% of employees at companies with strong coaching cultures report higher engagement levels. Yet fewer than 1 in 5 organizations have actually built one. The gap isn't talent. It's architecture. Most leaders mistake coaching for feedback. They're not the same thing. And that difference costs companies millions in lost productivity and attrition every single year. Think about your organization right now. You've hired smart people, competent people, people with potential. But how many of them are actually becoming significantly better at their jobs every quarter? How many are being developed systematically, not just evaluated reactively? The truth is brutal. When coaching doesn't exist as a cultural norm, capable people plateau. They stop stretching. They start looking elsewhere. Your best people especially. They leave not because of money or title. They leave because nobody invested in their growth. They felt managed, not developed. They saw no clear path to mastery. And the cost compounds. Replacing a senior performer costs between 150 and 200% of their salary when you factor in recruitment, onboarding, and lost institutional knowledge. But that number doesn't capture the real damage. The projects that slow down. The institutional memory that walks out the door. The team dynamics that fracture. What we're going to walk through today is not soft leadership theory. This is the structural and behavioral framework that separates organizations that develop talent from organizations that simply manage it. We'll show you exactly how to architect a coaching culture from the top down. Not through programs, through behavior, through system, through accountability. You'll see why most coaching initiatives fail in the first 90 days. And the 3 non-negotiable conditions that make them stick. You'll learn how to equip your leaders as coaches, not as evaluators. And you'll walk away with a specific implementation roadmap you can start this week. The companies doing this right? Microsoft, Google, Deloitte. They've all made the same shift. Coaching moved from the development department into the DNA of how leaders lead every single day. Point 1. Coaching is a systems problem, not a personality problem. Here's what most organizations get wrong. They assume good coaches are born, not built. So they either hire externally or they pin their hopes on the naturally gifted people who already have decent interpersonal skills. The evidence tells a different story. Research from the International Coach Federation found that 71% of employees who received regular coaching from their direct manager reported increased job satisfaction and performance metrics. But here's the critical detail. Only 27% of those managers had received formal training in coaching methodology. The difference between the 71 and the 27? Systems, process, guardrails. Take Satya Nadella at Microsoft. When he took over in 2014, Microsoft's culture was internally competitive and siloed. He didn't hire a chief coaching officer and hope for the best. He built a coaching framework into every performance conversation. Every one-on-one had a structure. Growth mindset became our operating principle tied to how you got promoted, how you were evaluated, how you were rewarded. Within 5 years, employee engagement scores climbed 23 points. Here's the application. Start by mapping your current feedback and development touchpoints. One-on-ones, reviews, project debriefs. Then introduce a single coaching protocol into the first one. We use a simple framework called Situation Challenge Coaching Outcome. You describe the situation. The person identifies the challenge they see. You ask powerful questions to help them surface their own answer. Then you lock in what they'll do differently. That's it. One protocol across one meeting type. Master it before you layer complexity. Point 2. Vulnerability must be structural, not aspirational. Coaching only happens when people feel safe enough to admit what they don't know. And most organizational hierarchies are explicitly designed to punish that admission. A study from BetterUp analyzing 190,000 workers found that psychological safety increased coaching effectiveness by 63%. Not marginally increased. 63%. But here's the trap. Leaders think psychological safety is created through nice emails and town halls about creating safe spaces. It's not. It's created through what gets rewarded and what gets punished in real moments. Look at Pixar's structure. Ed Catmull built a system where showing your work in progress, which means showing what's broken and what you don't yet understand, is not optional. It's how the creative process works. Junior artists sit alongside senior directors and openly debate creative choices. And the person being challenged doesn't feel threatened because the system itself is built around the assumption that your work will be torn apart. That's the goal. That's growth. Here's how to embed it. Stop rewarding people for having all the answers in meetings. Start rewarding people for asking the right questions and admitting what they don't know. Make it visible. When someone in a leadership meeting says, "I don't know, but here's how I'll figure it out," call that out. Publicly. Make it a pattern. Your team will read that signal faster than any diversity statement you've ever written. Point 3. Coaching must have accountability built into the reward structure. This is where most coaching initiatives collapse. They're positioned as nice to have professional development. Then when quarters get tight, they get cut. Coaching becomes something you do when you have time, which means you never do it. Data from the Society for Human Resource Management shows that 68% of managers don't have coaching built into their performance objectives. Translation. Nobody is measured on whether they're actually developing their people. So it doesn't happen at scale. Compare that to Amazon and Deloitte, where people development metrics are explicitly tied to promotion and compensation. At Deloitte, your ability to coach and develop your team is assessed through 360-degree feedback and directly impacts your partner advancement track. It's not a side project. It's central to your job. The application is direct. Add a people development metric to every leader's scorecard. Don't make it vague. Make it specific. Examples. Direct reports complete at least one meaningful stretch assignment in this fiscal year. Or, direct reports show measurable skill growth in quarterly assessments, with documented coaching touchpoints. Or, turnover of high performers in your team is below organizational average. Then review it. Quarterly. Publicly. Make it matter. When you implement a real coaching culture, the shift is visible within 6 months. You'll start seeing different conversations happening in your hallways. Less politicking. More problem solving. Less people protecting their turf. More people asking for help and admitting what they don't know. Your retention curves change. The people you most wanted to keep, your top performers, they stop interviewing elsewhere because they see a clear path to mastery. They're being invested in. They're being challenged. They're becoming better versions of themselves. And here's what happens to your organization. You move from executing the strategy that exists to continually improving it. Your people stop waiting for permission to develop solutions. They start stepping up to bigger challenges because they trust that if they fail, someone will help them learn from it. Your culture shifts from reactive to generative. The companies that nail this, they're not inherently smarter. They're not inherently more talented. They've simply decided that how they develop people is as important as what they build. And they've built systems that make that visible, measurable, and rewarded? Here's what you need to do this week. Pick one leadership team meeting. 1. Introduce the situation challenge coaching outcome framework into one conversation. See what happens. Notice where people default back to telling instead of asking. Notice where vulnerability shows up. That one conversation will tell you everything about where your culture actually is versus where you think it is. If you found value in this framework, subscribe to Apex Minds D4J. We release new strategies every week focused on what actually moves the needle for executives and leaders. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss them. And here's what's coming next. We're breaking down the specific leadership behaviors that kill psychological safety. The ones hiding in plain sight in your organization. You think you're creating safety, but there are 3 specific moves that undermine it every time. And once you see them, you can't unsee them. We'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching this video. If these insights resonated with you, please subscribe to Apex Minds D4J and hit the notification bell so you never miss our weekly content. Share this video with a colleague who needs to hear it. We will see you in the next one. Keep pushing forward. Thanks for listening. If you found this valuable, please subscribe to Apex Minds D4J for more powerful insights. See you in the next one.